Good morning, Delta. My name is Captain and welcome to Delta Unit. In today's video, we are about to talk about how to improve braking like MotoGP in Ride 5. Meaning, how can you have maximum braking on two wheel on a bike that you can expect and actually experience it, and the best bike setup that you can have. So without wasting any more time, let's just hop into the game. Best bike setup that you can have. Honestly, do not touch suspension because that will like throw away everything that you have. Or if you want to do it with your own understanding and like change other stuff and test your bike. Every bike is different, they're unique. For example, R1 it needs some setting, and maybe H2R needs another setting. ZX10 it does need another setup, basically not setting. But do it with your own understanding. I do not touch suspension on any bike. On the transmission, on every bike at first I decreased the final gear ratio to all the way 0 and a slipper of the clutch all the way to the maximum, because I want the maximum braking, engine braking, basically something like that, because I need my bike to stop fast. Honestly, I just changed the gear setting like this for having the best acceleration, and also at the lower gears for the max speed, basically max top speed. And vehicle geometry, swing arm length decrease it all the way to the 0, and chain tension also all the way to the 0. Sometimes I put it on 2, both of them, but sometimes I just put it on all the way to the 0. It really depends on the bike, because if a bike is really sensitive, like it's not like stable, I just increase it a little bit, maybe even 3. But when a bike is stable and it doesn't just change the direction from right to left or left to right on leaning, I decrease it all the way to the 0, because I need to lean, I need to corner in the track, because basically you do need to shave off your time. That's the goal of racing. And on the electronic, I put traction control all the way up. On some bike like H2, because it has a lot of power and torque, especially I put it on 2. But usually for other bikes I put it 0. Sometimes on 600 I put it on 0. But for now, because we're on R1 Ether bike, and honestly R1 actually has more torque rather than any other flat crank engine based like Kawasaki, Honda, Suzuki, any other stuff like that, any other bike. And engine brake system, I'll put it all the way on the 4 power delivery or fuel map or whatever that you want to call it. When it rains, I put it on rain. When it is endurance, I put it on eco at the second lap. That's my strategy. At the first lap, I need to close the gap between the people and become the first place if I can. If not, I do that on the next lap. On endurance, I put it on eco mode, but on the regular races, like quick races, I put it on full, because I do need the full power of the engine. And ABS, I put it on 1, but we are gonna talk about it. We're gonna change it in the game, and I'm gonna talk about it how you're gonna do that. Well, the last thing basically that you need for bike setup is to put your tire on soft, because as you can see over here, it gives you the highest grip, but also it gives you the lowest duration. So if it's regular race like this one, it's a quick race, you're gonna do 3 maximum 10 lap. It's okay actually, but if you're going for endurance, you basically need a strategy for that. I will start on soft tires to again close the gap and push the bike actually to the limit, because you have higher grip. And after the second or third, or whenever the tire is wearing out, I change it to hard, because in endurance you need duration rather than grip. Grip is not your main object to conquer or have, basically. So I put both of the tire on soft on quick match like races. Races, I just came out from CS2. And there you go, you have the best bike setup. And let's go to improving your braking. Well, technically I just told you what to do for braking. This is one tip for improving your braking, increasing your slipper clutch. The second thing is to decrease your ABS to 1. If you're, well, basically if you are comfortable with it or you're okay with it, put it on 0, because that gives you the maximum braking. But remember, when you're leaning and you need to brake, that's gonna cause some problem, because if your bike is not stable and you add brake at the wrong time, you're gonna end up on the ground. So put it on the first. This is for the best braking, and the rest it needs to be in the game. And honestly, I'm gonna quickly decrease the sound of the game so you guys can hear me. Okay, let that guy go past. What you need to do is that when you start the game on PC, press left shift to have this like the tab, not the throttle and braking and the fuel if you are not working or racing in endurance. What you want to do is technically like do it like a MotoGP. When you are going straight like this, decrease the ABS. Hold on. Decrease the ABS to 0 because it gives you maximum grip. And when you are on the corner, before you start to lean, put it on 1 just so you can have the stable bike basically. So what you want to do is this. It's at 0. Before I start to lean, I put it on 1 and I start leaning. That was a terrible cornering, but whatever. You go again. I technically in this track I put it on 1 because the high corner that it is in front, because if you need the braking at that speed, you actually do need, for example like here, if you need to brake you need ABS, otherwise you're gonna go down. You're gonna put it on 0, and when you get to a point that you need to start to brake, you put it at 0. This is an example. You start braking, and before your corner, also I'll do well, let's talk about that, and I'll talk about that the other one. Before I start braking, I also do downshifting to have higher rev, higher RPM, so I can have more engine braking, and that also helps, in my opinion, maybe a bit, not too much like actual braking, but it does help. What you want to do is to put it at 0, start braking, you don't have any ABS, and before corner you put it at 1. Simple as that. I need to brake a little faster. Wait, I forgot to do downshift. You brake, you put it at 1 just before the turn. I did it late. Why it's so hard to talk and also ride? Why it's so hard? Well, there you go, you have it, how to improve the braking and bike setup. A bonus tip that I want to tell you is that start braking will actually brake when you are not leaning. What I mean by that is, I'm gonna show it to you. I'm not leaning, I'm going straight, but I brake because that gives me more basically diameter on my tire if you look at it, and my tire actually travels more distance. I hope that I can make sense to you guys. Travels more distance, meaning my brake have more distance to travel and have effect on the track. Like, I don't know if it might be confusing for you guys, but just look what I do. I'm going straight, I'm not leaning, but I brake. And sometimes I release the brake when I'm leaning, sometimes I do apply brake, sometimes do partial braking. It depends, and all you need to do is just practice for that. I'm going straight, I'm braking, I'm not leaning, okay? I'm not leaning, and I was braking. And I need to add brake when I'm leaning right now because the bike was just fast. So add brake. When you're going super fast, brake when you're going straight. You're not leaning like this, you're going straight. You understand that? You see here, from here to here, we are going straight almost, and we're braking. This distance of braking will gives us about something like from here to here. So if you start braking from here but you're leaning all the way up to here, will give you the same exact result if you start braking, let's say this from here to here, this distance. Why? Because you are going straight, because you have more distance. Well,